Are you thinking of buying land in Montana? Well, you're in the right place. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the do's and don'ts of buying land. We'll also be discussing things to keep in mind when you do buy land. And if you stick around until the end, I will share my personal experience with buying land and building a house on that land. What went well, what didn't go so well, and how you can avoid the same mistakes that I did. Let's get after it right now. All right, so let's get right into it. There is land for sale here in Missoula, Montana, and Ravalli County. So you got Missoula right here, you got Ravalli County right here. Now you can buy land. Land is still available, and you can buy plots of land within a division that's half an acre to an acre, and sometimes you're allowed to bring your own builder. Sometimes when you buy that specific piece of land, a builder is like already assigned to the subdivision. So there's those two options: buy in a subdivision, bring your own builder, or buy in a subdivision and use the subdivision's builder. Or you can just buy land and do all your own homework and bring your own builder to that plot of land. Now, there are some things that you want to keep in mind before you buy land and then build your house on it, right? So first, you'll want to consider, are you going to buy land in Missoula County or in Ravalli County? And if you haven't checked out my video on the differences between Missoula County and Ravalli County, you'll definitely want to check that out after this video though. But some of the major differences with Missoula and Ravalli County is, one, Missoula County taxes, property taxes, are a bit higher than Ravalli County. Two, you'll run into a few more headaches with the planning department, the permits, getting your plans approved, and it's a lot more hoops to jump through than Ravalli County, where I think we only pulled one permit, and it was for the septic tank. That's not bad at all, and it wasn't a headache of a process. So Ravalli County, a lot fewer hoops to jump through when it comes to pulling permits or getting your plans approved to build your house on that land. So, one, check to see which county you are going to buy in. Two, do you have cell phone service on your plot of land? Now, if you can imagine, nowadays, I don't know anyone personally who has a landline phone, but if your cell phone is your only means of communicating, that's going to be an issue. So keeping that in mind, how much will it cost to get electricity to your property? It's huge. It can get so incredibly expensive to put up electricity poles or build them underground. That doesn't happen as often, but it is a possibility. And then another thing to keep in mind is the road. Now, is there a road already there? Are you going to have to pay someone to put in a road for you? Do you need any easements? So an easement is, let's say there's a house here and Joe Schmo owns this house and this property, but your land is here and you want to build a house here. Are you going to have to pass by Joe Schmo's house in order to get to your land? That's called an easement. Do you have permission to pass by Joe Schmo's land over here to get back to your land, back to your property? Or can you build from a different direction? Now, the issue that we have in Missoula and in Ravalli County is we have mountains. And if you back up to a mountain, you're not going to put a road back there because you just can't. The mountain will block you. So you might need to access Joe Schmo's road to get back to your land, eventually to your house if you choose to build there. So keep that in mind, easements. Another thing that you'll have to keep in mind when you are buying land, and then if you want to build a house, is your well. Now, I personally have a 400-foot deep well, which is pretty deep. The higher up you are on the mountain, that means that your well is going to need to be even deeper and deeper. Now, one, that can get really expensive real quick, but two, it will affect how much water pressure you may have or may not have at your new build house. So keeping in mind where the property is and how accessible it will be to access water and how deep your well will need to be, because you don't want low water pressure, or if you drain your well water while taking a shower, well, then you're SOL when it comes to doing your dishes or washing your clothes. So just things to keep in mind. Another big cost to buying land and then eventually building a house is going to be putting in a septic tank. Now, this can get quite pricey, but it will just depend on the size of your house. So a smaller house will get a smaller septic and a bigger house will get a bigger septic tank. Now, when you buy the property, you'll want to plan things out and space things out. So you'll need to decide where you put the house, where you're going to put the well, and then where you're going to put the septic. And then if you decide to have a propane tank, a lot of people do choose to bury their propane tank. You'll bury your propane tank in a different spot. So just planning it all out so that all those things have enough space to do their thing. Now, a big concern about buying land is then you'll have to find your own builder. And finding your own builder is a headache, no joke. When we were personally looking for a builder, I think I called every single builder in Missoula and Ravalli County. And I would say about 10% called me back. So that's that. And then another half of them, so even 5%, were within our price range, or even and then cut that number in half. Though that's a very small portion of builders were then booked out 6 months, 1 year, some are 2 years out. And if we're buying land, I want the house built now. And unfortunately, that's not something that can happen. There are long waiting lists for builders because they are really busy. There aren't as many builders as there are people who want to build a house. So just something to keep in mind, getting on a builder's list early. And if you need any recommendations for the builder that built our beautiful house, just reach out to me, call, text, email, and I'd be happy to send over their information. Now, something that you'll absolutely want to do before you go and look at land and definitely buy land is the number one step is reaching out to me so that I can be that resource for you. I can share the active listings of land that is currently for sale, and there's quite a range. It's interesting to see, like a former math teacher, there's land comes in all shapes and sizes. It's really fun to see because if you see like a perfectly square piece of land, you can put the house smack dab in the middle so that you have like between you and your neighbors. But if you have like a rectangular space, it's a few more decisions that you'll need to make. Now, if you put your house at the front of the lot, your road or your driveway will be a lot shorter. Now, if you put your house at the back of the lot, your road and your driveway will be a lot longer. So do you want to put asphalt or concrete? Do you want just gravel and deal with the mud? Now, if you haven't seen my video about dirt roads and my muddy situation, you will know that I have a love-hate relationship with mud, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I'll link the video up here so that you don't think I'm crazy about like absolutely hating the mud, but I do absolutely hate mud, and it has caused me, mud has a very big presence in my life, and I kind of wish it didn't. Okay, tangent over. So you're looking for land, but it is harder to find a lender that will finance land as opposed to a residential piece of property. Now, there are lenders that do commercial properties only, and then there are lenders that do land, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other lenders that do like creative offers and creative investors and stuff like that. But if you want a lender just for land, reach out to me. I can put you in the right hands, because not all lenders are treated equally. Like, not all lenders will do land deals. So if you call up a bunch of lenders and they're like, nope, I don't do that, reach out to me. I'll put you in the right hands for land lenders. Say that 10 times fast. All right, and fast forward to you buying the land, you will absolutely want to get a survey done. Now, a survey is super important for so many different reasons. One, you want to make sure that before you build anything on your land, that all the things that you're planning on building are within the boundaries of your land. Two, if you ever decide to put a fence up for dogs, chickens, horses, other livestock, you'll want to make sure that your fence is on your land. Now, this happened one time where this couple, they did a survey, and the shed that they had put on the land was halfway on their land and on the neighbor's land. So when the buyer was buying this house, they were like, you got to take that shed out, because that shed is half on, half off. So you want to make sure that what you're building and what you're putting on your land actually belongs to you, because you can have someone down the road say, take that off, and it's just an added cost, an added headache that you just don't want to deal with. So get a survey, it's totally worth it. And especially if you're buying just like raw land, you'll want to get it staked out. Not steak like cow steak, not like that. Stake, S-T-A-K-E, stake. So that's just a fancy way of saying that the surveyor will come out and put like little poles with like little flags all around your property line, and they'll also take some very special fancy paint, and they'll literally paint a line around your property boundaries so that you stay within those boundaries, build within your boundaries. So, buying land. Now, you've already stuck around long enough that now I'll share my personal experience with buying our land and then building a house on it. So the first thing that we encountered that was an issue, a minor issue, but an issue nonetheless, is that the way the property is and the way that like our neighbors are, like their property, we have to pass over Joe Schmo's property in order to get to our property. But Joe Schmo doesn't live here. Joe Schmo lives on the East Coast. And it's interesting because it was really hard to get in touch with our neighbor to discuss an easement. Like there was an easement already in place. So we had to get in touch with our neighbor to make sure that our easement was good and that like we were still like within the road was like okay, and we pledged to take care of the road because yes, we have our driveway, but then we have a road out to the main road that's, I would say, like a mile long. But if our neighbors are living on the East Coast, then they're not maintaining the road, and technically the road that needs to be maintained is on their property. But we took it upon ourselves, because we're the ones that are going to use the road, that we will be the ones to take care of the road. And they don't come here to Montana very often, but they do have their property here. So we had to make sure that our easement was in order. Now, another huge pro to building, like buying land and then building on that, is that we could do whatever on earth we wanted. If we wanted to build a house and then a garage and then a shop and then like a little garden, like nobody's telling us that we can't do a single thing. And that's really nice to be able to do whatever you want with your property. Feels good. So just things to keep in mind if you choose to buy land and then build a house on it. Leave me a comment down below. Did I miss anything? What do we absolutely need to know about buying land and then building a house on it? I would love to know. For the people that actually did it, either here in Montana or other states, what do we need to know? I'm very curious. So leave me a comment down below. I would love to keep this conversation going. And if you're finding value in this video, then go ahead and give that like and subscribe button a click. That way I can bring more of Missoula and Ravalli County's charm straight to you. My name is Diana Filkins with Living in Missoula, Montana. I get calls, texts, and emails from people just like you seeking assistance with their move to Missoula or Ravalli County. Reach out, call, text, email. I will be the one that responds to you. I am never too busy for my YouTube books. So reach out to me. I would love to be that resource for you, that guiding hand, so you can make some educated decisions about buying land and then building on it. Now, stay tuned for a secondary video all about the building process and everything that we went through when we built our house. So until next time, take care.